This is the George by Asda 1.5 litre jug blender, and it cost me 18 quid. Is it worth it? Let's take a look. I had a blender already and it just packed up on me. A crack appeared on the side of the jug and that was it, it was gone. And I really wanted one to make something. I can't remember what it was, but I find this sort of gadget really handy around the house. If you're making sauces, want to knock up a milkshake, if you want a smoothie, want to whiz up things in gravy, there's all sorts of reasons, I think, to own a jug blender. I'd unbox it, but this is it. It's just this with cardboard and plastic. Nothing to get excited about. There's no accessories, no spatulas, no measuring scales, nothing fancy in it. This is what you get. Standard, of course, UK plug. One other little feature I'd mention, which I think is interesting for a blender of this price point, it's got suckers on the bottom so that it will weld itself to the work surface. Ideally, the blender would be heavy enough, it wouldn't need them, but this is extremely lightweight, very cheap plastic housing. This jug is very cheap construction, don't let it fool you, it's not glass, it's plastic. It's £18, so what can we expect? Well, it's got 2 speeds, fast and very fast, and it's got a pulse action. It has the standard thing that most jug blenders have, and food processors and food mixers, where it doesn't work unless it's locked in tight. So you've got a standard jug with some measurements down the side. I'm not sure I've ever used those. A lid that just locks into place like that, and a smaller little, I guess they want to sell that as a measuring cup, but it's just a sort of lid. As you probably know, when you turn a blender on, it creates a vacuum inside, and if you cover that tightly, it'll explode everywhere when it comes off.
Goes in there, lid on, blend.
Ooh, nasty.
This lid is loose enough that air can pass through it, so you can just leave it there, and therefore you're not going to get splatters everywhere. Commonly you'll see people put a dishcloth or tablecloth, probably more like a tea towel, that was the word I was looking for, over the top to prevent splashes. But this lid is loose enough to let air out so that it can continue blending, but then you can just wash that up, obviously. Quite handily, I think. That bottom bit comes off, which makes it brilliant for cleaning, because getting down into that bottom bit of the blender can be a bit tricky, so that coming off is great. It has a rubber seal down the bottom so that nothing should leak out from there. And there's your blades on there, 4 blades, and I know some people are interested in this. There's about 2 centimetres maybe clearance between the bottom of the jug and the blade itself, so it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. Anything underneath the blade's obviously not going to get chopped up. I've had this maybe 6 months, maybe longer actually, and it's certainly done all the things I've thrown at it. Let me show you some things that the manual says. This blender can be used for fluids, e.g. dairy products, sauces, fruit juices, soups, milks, drinks and shakes, or soft ingredients, e.g. fruit and protein powders. And a couple of things it does say in here, just in case you were wondering if this will solve this for you. Never use the blender to crush ice or large pieces of frozen foods, grind bones or processed spices. Now, cards on the table, I have used it to whiz up frozen fruit and ice. Which is against the manufacturer's instructions. My guess is it's not going to go wrong, but it'll probably blunt the blades quicker, means you'll get less life out of it. It also says it can't beat egg whites, whipped cream, mashed potatoes, grind meats, mix dough or extract juice. So, I mean, it's not a food processor, it's not going to do those jobs for you. Let's give it a go. First of all, a quick protein-based shake with some milk, protein powder and a little fruit in there. Whiz that up. And that's what you're going to get. Cleanup is pretty straightforward. My recommendation is just as soon as you've finished, get a bit of water in there and whiz it up a little bit, and that will help loosen all the particles. And then when you're actually ready to go and clean it, everything will be loosened up. It's the equivalent of leaving it to soak, right? Don't forget that bottom comes off, makes life easier to clean it underneath. Now let's try something a bit more savoury. So I'm going to throw in some basil stalks and a couple of leaves, some tinned tomatoes and a little bit of seasoning, and puree that through. So now I can cook this gently and add to pasta. Alternatively, you could do it the other way around. Cook all the ingredients and then pass it through the jug. For what we're doing, and then toss it over pasta, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference. So there you are, a couple of uses for this jug blender that I use for making a quick curry sauce, tomato sauce, or making a fruit drink or a milkshake. I keep mine around all the time, genuinely. I probably use it twice a week, maybe, on average. It's not glamorous, it's not cute, it's not fun, but it does the job. At some point, I am sure part of this is going to break, because it's kind of cheap sounding, but I'll come back to the fact that it cost me 18 quid. Certainly when I bought it from Asda, it has a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, like a no-quibble refund, and a 2-year warranty. So providing you've kept your receipt, you've got 2 years to hand it back and get some help with it. So that sort of answers the question for you. Is £18 for 2 years worth of guaranteed blending action good enough for you? That's a decision you can make. I think 18 quid, if it went wrong in 2 years and 1 day's time, I wouldn't be too upset about it. I'd probably replace it like for like. Or I might think, actually, I now need to buy a more serious one and spend a little bit more money on it and do some research. It's only 400 watts, which is not terribly powerful. And I always say when you're buying these electrical appliances that do grinding and chopping and blending, is to get the best wattage you can for your money, because that power is where you're going to see the difference, where you're going to see it pureeing, where you're going to see it blending, where you're going to see it reducing it to as fine ingredient as you can. But again, 18 quid, and because it's from Asda, there's probably one not a million miles away from you right now as you watch this, which means you can go and grab one quite easily. So I think, on the whole, worth the money. I'm not going to win in design awards, but I don't think that was their intention here. But a handy standby that I keep in my kitchen a lot. That's all for this review. I hope you enjoyed that. What would really help me out if you like this kind of video, there's a button down there that says subscribe. If you click that, it's completely free. It just lets YouTube know you like this sort of video and the sort of things I do. Even better, there's a little bell icon there. If you click that and press the word all, then YouTube will drop a notification to you every time there's a new video coming, which is super handy. It means you will be the first on the block. You can say you were there at the beginning when a new video dropped. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.